It was in this corner with 26 seconds to go that Chesky knocked down a three to extend Indiana's lead to 4. Chesky had struggled over the last 2 games, scoring in single digits, but when her team needed her, she buried the dagger 3. In the biggest moments, you look for your veteran stars to step up. Mackenzie Holmes and Sarah Scalia did just that. In their final game here at Assembly Hall, Holmes had 12 points in the 4th quarter, while Scalia knocked down 7 of 8 free throws to ice the game away. Indiana's defense was stifling all game long. They held the Hatters under 10 points in 3 quarters and under 19% from the field overall. Turnovers were aplenty, with both teams struggling to hold on to the ball. The Hoosiers turned the ball over 20 times, 8 more than their season average. The usually sure-handed Chloe Moore McNeil had 6 of her own, a career high. The Hoosiers lacked the break glass in case of emergency type option that they've had in previous years. Down at the end of regulation and overtime, when they needed their playmakers most, they couldn't find them. In the overtime period, guards Sydney Parrish, Chloe Moore McNeil, and Yarden Garzone combined for just 1 shot attempt. Hoop season is firmly underway. Both the pro and college ranks well into their regular seasons. And there's plenty going on here in the basketball state. The Pacers and the Hoosiers both in action. Let's start in Bloomington with Indiana taking on South Carolina. Big Ten and SEC leave the football discourse at the door. IU is 7-0 and is still not trailed this season. ESPN's College Game Day will be in Bloomington this Saturday as the Hoosiers take on Washington. The winner, they get acclaimed Michael Penix. I don't make the rules. Game day starts at 9 a.m. with kickoff at noon. Indiana women's basketball started 2025 by taking on the #1 team in the country, UCLA. While they played the Bruins closer than anyone had this year, they fell 73-62. In a game in which IU needed its deep shooting, they went just 4 of 21 from 3.
We got really good shots. They didn't go down. As I said to them, those shots go down. I feel like it's going to be a different kind of game and a different outcome.
Indiana's biggest issue, though, came in the form of 6'7" center Lauren Betts. Betts had her way on both sides of the ball and forced Indiana into deep foul trouble. The junior finished with a 25-point double-double, her 9th of the season.
She has good size, she's strong. Our fives did everything they could. We saw their effort. We tried to do collectively as a team good job on there. She's a great player.
I think Lily and Strip were working their tails off. They did everything we asked them. It's just that she's an extraordinary 5 because of her size.
Despite this, Terry Morton was pleased with how her team played.
Really proud of our group. I thought their effort always, but today in particular, they were dialed in. There's a fight to this group, a cohesiveness. They're connected. I think we're still a really good basketball team.
Indiana will look for their first win of the new year on Wednesday at Northwestern. From Simon Scott Assembly Hall, I'm Alex Hynes, iOS TV Sports. Monday night was as irate as I've seen Terry Morton in a post-game press conference, and our team won by 22 points, 82-60 over Brown. The biggest issue for Morin was her team's defense. They fell well short of their point tally goal and allowed 11 threes from a Brown team that was willing to shoot at will. Morin described the overall defensive effort as lackluster and unacceptable.
It bothers me that we don't have more pride. It bothers me that I have to go into halftime and have those conversations about being undisciplined. You know, we left a shooter off the strong side. We never do that. We switched a guard to 5 ball screen. We never do that. So it's those little things that if you don't nip it in the butt real quick, those are the things that are going to get your ass beat.
They made 11 three-pointers total. I mean, they shot 36, but we can't let up more than 5 in a game.
This performance tonight will not win you any Big Ten game.
Indiana won't have much time to iron out these issues. They play in just 2 days' time as they host Harvard here in Bloomington. From Simon Scott Assembly Hall, I'm Alex Hynes, iOS TV Sports. Now out to Gainbridge, Pacers and the Heat just a minute in. Miles Turner from deep and connects, passing Paul George for 8th on the franchise scoring list. Late on in the second, Pascal Siakam, the steal, the Euro step lay. How about it? Pacers by 7. They led by 3 at the half. Now after the break, Benedict Mathurin steps into a 3, and it's pure. A double-double for Mathurin, finished with 21 and 12. Under a minute to go, 4-point game. Turner is feeling it. Step back tray this time, ices it late. A huge day for the center. 34 points, 5 deep ones, 119-110. Pacers get the victory. Senior day for the Terps, both these teams desperately in search of late season wins. Here in the first half, Anthony Leal to Xavier Johnson, playing close to home and knocks down the 3, ties it at 17. Johnson had 13. Other end, Julian Rees in the paint with the contact, gets the 2 and 1. 25-20 Terps, they led by 10 at half. In the second, Mackenzie Mbako makes a man miss, drives in, gets the 3-point play, cuts it to a 4-point game. 24 points for the freshman, another career high. Tie ball game, transition play for the Hoosiers. They get the steal, and Trey Galloway, the tip, gets the score. Indiana works it all the way back, 66-64. Wouldn't be an Indiana highlight without one of these. Galloway the lob, Khalil Ware the finish. Indiana lead by 8. Under 4. Now Trey Galloway around into the paint. Little runner gets it to fall. Indiana come back to win 83-78, the Hoosiers' third win this season after trailing by 15 or more points. Well, Indiana football is having a historic regular season, ending 11-1 and 9th in the college football playoff rankings. I'm joined here in studio by Senior Associate Athletic Director Jeremy Gray. Jeremy, thank you for taking the time. I want to start by talking about how the program has rekindled the relationship with its fan base in just a year. What was the process? What was the plan coming into this season? You have had College Game Day come here, big noon, now national conversations around the program heading in towards the college football playoff. What does that do for this program moving forward?
Well, just alone hosting College Game Day, it's estimated it's worth $2.5 million in free advertising for the university.
They lost their first game to a non-Power 5 team since 2018 when they fell to Harvard in overtime at home last week. Alex, should we be worried?
You know, not yet. I think we saw a game like this happening at some point. I didn't think it was going to be Harvard at home in the second game of the season. I mean, they haven't lost at home in over 900 days. I mean, they had made that a fortress, and they just looked all out of sorts. I think the big thing for me is they have to really accept that this isn't last year's team. You don't have, in these big moments when Harvard's going on a run or when you reach overtime, you don't have that break glass in case of emergency player. You can't just toss it down to Mackenzie Holmes. You can't hand it off to Grace Berger anymore. They need to figure out who they trust when they need a bucket. Who can they give the ball to find it? Because out of Parrish, Moore, McNeil, and Garzone, in the overtime period, they had just one shot. Well, I mean, first and foremost, you have to play absolute perfect basketball if you want to get even close to South Carolina. Tennessee proved that. I mean, just one three-point attempt from Camila Cardoso, who had taken one in her entire career previously, gets it to go in, and they go win the SEC. So, I mean, anything can happen. You have to be at your best. And for Indiana, that means you have to figure out those third-quarter struggles where they've had those really sort of wonky periods where they turn the ball over a lot, and that's lost them the few ball games that they have lost. And I think off of that, it's about shooting the three very well, because you've got, again, Cardoso in the paint, really long frame. She's going to really be difficult to go up against in the paint if you're trying to drive to the rim. So I think really that three-point shooting, which Indiana does have, they're a very good three-point shooting team, that's got to be on point. But, I mean, overall, I think for Indiana, it's going to be tough because they're going through a very tough schedule at home. Yes, they're hosting, but you talk about facing a really good Fairfield team and then either a really interesting Florida Gulf Coast team or Oklahoma. It's not going to be easy for them just to get that far. They're going to have to really, figure out those legs as they go through the tournament.